Okay, is my PowerPoint visible?
Yeah,
So again, I say namaskar and shukriya for the invitation today. It's an honor to kick off the lecture series. And I have to say, I really, truly appreciate the timing. I know it's extremely late for you in India. It's early morning for me here in the United States. Not as early as some of the sessions that I have done in India, but I truly appreciate all of the students and all of the faculty attending on a late Saturday night. And I'd like to thank everyone that has had a part in organizing the series, and also wish you a very happy Independence. So today, what I'd like to do is talk to you about how the pandemic has affected our psyche, which has influenced consumer sentiment, how it's ushered in a new era of escape and experimental quest, I guess you would say, and how brands are actually having to tap into that in order to excite and delight, in order to drive revenue and increase market share. So just to give you a little bit of background about the pandemic and what has happened, getting us to where we are today. You know, the pandemic, of course, really hit, what was it, March of 2020, excuse me. And what's happened as a result of the pandemic is we had massive layoffs, we had restructuring, reorgs, people leaving the workforce, some voluntarily. We've seen more and more of that. It's been called the Great Reassessment, where people are deciding. We saw it a lot in education, K through 12, kindergarten through 12th grade, where they were saying, I wasn't trained to teach remotely or virtually, and it was overwhelming for a lot of those that were not tech savvy. So they decided that they were just going to check out. They were ready to retire anyway. They were close to it. They went ahead and disengaged and pulled out. So we've got a lot of workforce shortages around the globe as a result of the layoffs and the voluntarily resignations that took place. Plus, we've got restrictions with immigration and such. So what that has done is it's opened up a lot of opportunities with the adoption of technology. We're seeing robotics, artificial intelligence, all of that has helped some with the workforce shortage. We're still anticipating the workforce shortages to continue. However, that does open up a lot of opportunities for you, especially those of you that are students. What's really happened with that Great Reassessment is you're seeing people evaluate really what they want out of life and out of their career. And if you look, 40% of the global workforce is ready to quit today. And here in the United States, it's the same thing. 41% are actually looking for another job during this time, this first quarter of this year. Again, it's opening up a lot of opportunities there. But I do have to mention that there's some research that is finding that some of these people that are relocating or migrating into a different career, different sector, or even a different industry, there's a little bit of regret there. Sometimes we look across the fence and we think it's greener, the grass is greener on the other side of the fence, and it may not necessarily be that case. The industries that have been most impacted, retail, of course, hospitality and tourism, manufacturing, technology, and healthcare as well. Healthcare is one that's seeing an upsurge in the adoption of technology. We were seeing that pre-COVID. But the other thing that's happened is people are reevaluating what they value. 1/3 of consumers would say that they are reevaluating what they value as a result of the pandemic. So what they're focusing on is basically their health, their home, and their happiness. We're basically focusing on our well-being and our work-life balance. As a result, organizations are having to adapt, and they were already starting to look at remote work or flexible hybrid type or work environments, but that has really become the norm. It has really grown. You can see the organizations that are adopting remote work or a hybrid type format, and that is going to continue. What we're going to see is more work from anywhere. That's going to be the new workplace. They're actually calling these individuals digital nomads, where they're going to be traveling and working, say, on a balcony overlooking the beach. That's going to be the norm. It's going to be bleisure, which is a combination of business and leisure. But we're going to see that. We're seeing actually now hotels and startups catering to this new demographic. The other thing I'd like you to kind of realize when we talk about the pandemic, and I know this is simplistic, but it's the best way to kind of get you to understand how we ended up where we are today and how it's going to influence our future. Pre-COVID, we were basically like a caterpillar, but then, like I said, in March of 2020, we all went into our COVID cocoon. We were forced into this cocoon. We've been there for basically 2 years or more. We're going to emerge different, stronger, bigger, better, but it's going to be a different world. One thing I'd also like to reiterate is that we've lost a lot of time, and this is across all demographics. When you look at young people, they feel like their youth has been stolen. Some of our students may feel this way, that we've lost some of that time that we will never get back. Millennials feel like they should have been farther along by this point in time, so they feel shortchanged. Then you have senior citizens, gray hairs that we can, that I am one now, thanks to Guelph. That's where I started getting my gray hair. But they feel like they have been shortchanged in terms of their retirement years. We work all of our life for our retirement years, and to be able to travel and do and enjoy life while our partners, our spouses have good health, while both of us have good health. And that has taken almost 2.5 years out of our lives that we will never get back. But again, we are emerging out of the cocoon. We are ready to fly. We are looking to make the most out of the time that we have left. I'm hoping that this video will show. We're going to attempt to see if it will display. The point being is that this video is an advertisement from a campaign from Norwegian Cruise Lines, and it speaks to the break free mindset.
Dear 2020, you had your time. You put up a tough fight, but we fought harder. You challenged, we overcame. Now, our time has come to reclaim our way of life. It's time to plan a getaway. Away to a place that inspires us and excites us. To unplug, unwind, and recharge. To make up for canceled plans. A place where we can finally be free. Free from boundaries, disruptions, even virtual backgrounds. Today, we rise above. For freedom can no longer wait. Today, we break free. I want to break free.
Okay, I believe that campaign really speaks to the mindset of the consumer today. They are actually looking to recapture that lost time and make the most of their experiences. When we talk about marketing, we look at positioning, which really plays into the rational side of the consumer. And we also have to factor in the brand relationship, that emotional connection, how we feel about a brand. And remember that a brand needs to inspire us. It needs to capture our interest and our desire to purchase and be brand advocates. When we talk about experiential marketing, we're basically talking about those memorable experiences, the ones that add value to the product, that make us have that connection, that desire to frequent and patronize that organization and that brand. We also want to make sure that with experiential marketing, some people call it engagement marketing, we want to have that direct connection, like I say, forge that connection with our consumer and have a regular maintained. Relationships take a lot of work, and with our consumers, we've got to stay focused on that relationship. Whenever we truly understand a consumer, the customer, we not only improve the experience, but we also improve their sentiment over time. This is just to give you an idea of the difference between designing a product and designing the experience. It's a simple illustration, I would say, that really highlights the fact of understanding the consumer and how they utilize our product. The other thing to keep in mind is that a product is what we buy, but the experience is what we remember. It's the takeaway. And if you look at the bottom, when the graphic there, you can see that consumers will actually, they will give the benefit of the doubt to the organization. They will purchase, even if they don't, if it's an inferior product, if they have that attachment, that love of the brand, they really want to know that that brand cares about them. 83% want to know that. And they will actually spend more if they feel like the brand understands them and is connecting with them. The other thing that we need to do as brands is we need to tell a story. We don't just want to paint a picture of who we are and what we're all about. We need to tell a story. The psychologist, Bruner, highlights that 22% of the time, if we have a fact and we wrap it around the story, we're going to remember that story much more. Stanford, it's actually the School of Business, they found that if you give or provide a statistic, it may be remembered about 5% of the time. But if we wrap it around a story, it's remembered or recalled 63% of the time. That's why it's important for us to tell stories, to forge, again, that connection. A deeper connection is the better way to say it. Whenever we create a story, we want to make sure that we create, like I say, those memorable experiences. And the way we do that is we personalize the brand. We need to keep it from being so sterile. Humanize it is the better way to say it, I would say. We want to make sure that we're authentic, we're genuine with our relationship with our consumer, with our target market. We want to show compassion and, again, forge that long-standing connection with the consumer. The other thing to keep in mind, and those of you that are students, I'm sure that Instagram is one of the favored social media platforms. And that's because imagery, it's so easy to quickly digest. When you look at 3M, their research shows that visuals are processed 60,000 times faster than text. And then you can see where HubSpot, they found that tweets with images are reshared 94% of the time. So you can see the engagement level is going to be there if we embed imagery into our messaging. The food looks great, by the way. The other thing that we want to do is we want to immerse our consumers in their senses, all of immerse them into all, not just the see, the feel, the taste, the standards, the hear and the smell. We want to make sure that we tap into the brain, the evaluation phase, and the forge that emotional connection so that they feel the brand. Like I said, we want them to have that emotional connection with the brand, because it's going to increase the revenue and also turn them into brand advocates. And I'll speak in just a little bit about turning them into heroes, the importance of that. The other thing to keep in mind with the purchasing decisions is that they happen 90% of the time subconsciously. So that is why it is so important to lay the groundwork with our consumers to forge that strong, rich, deep connection. Whenever we have our experiential marketing campaigns, again, we want to emphasize the story and not the brand. And I'll have a scenario to explain that premise. But also we want to forge that engagement and entice or drive that target market to engage with our brand. I've already talked to you about the importance of the senses and tapping into that immersion. Because remember too, we have been in the cocoon for 2.5 years. Now we want to experience, we want to get out and enjoy it. It's almost, and I don't know if schools still do this, but in my day, when I was younger, we would have recess and we couldn't wait to get out and play and enjoy being out of school. It's the same kind of thing with the current scenario coming out of the cocoon. I've already talked to you also about the imagery and the importance of that and how that can really drive social engagement and help with our impressions and shares and a brand exposure, brand awareness. We want to make sure that we're driving loyalty, but not just the loyalty. It's all about forging brand advocates. We want them to sell us as much as we market and advertise the brand. So whenever we talk about turning them into a hero, we need to make sure that we communicate to the customer. They need to feel like we know their wants and their needs. We need to make sure we communicate to them that we're focused on that. And then how are we going to fill or resolve that? That is what they are looking to find from a brand. This is the campaign that I mentioned earlier. This is from Vanderbilt University in Tennessee here in the United States. And you can see what she's talking about there. She's basically saying that she selected Vanderbilt's MBA program because it was telling her, they focused on her. They didn't come to her and say, oh, we're an award-winning program, we've won this award, we're recognized nationally, internationally, whatever. She connected with them because of their messaging, saying that they wanted to find out from her, where is she looking to go? What is she looking to do? And they were focused on her rather than telling their successes. Another research component